Welcome to Sport Classics. The Wembley Gold selection features fantastic matches and stunning performances from the world-famous stadium. In 1988, Tony Adams and his Arsenal team were favourites to beat Luton Town at Wembley in the Littlewoods Cup final. Few expected the team from Bedfordshire, captained by Steve Foster, to upset the odds and claim their first ever major trophy. Commentary comes from David Pleat and Brian.
Both sides struggling a little bit for form lately. Luton with just one win in their last 5. Arsenal the holders with only 2 wins in their last 9. There's Harford's head. Here's Ricky Hill and Tim Breaker. Steve Foster for Luton, pointing it forward towards the head of Harford. Luton's throw. Ricky Hill will take it. He said to me on Friday, yes, it's a bit of a gamble, I know, him playing me, but I'm a gambling man. Perry Groves versus Mal Donaghy. Rocastle. Priest unable to get a hold of it. Johnson just tucking it forward. But now Nigel Winterburn came off. Kingsley back for the Arsenal throw. Winterburn taking it. In goes Donaghy first. Thomas. Bob Johnson. Winterburn. Thomas. Trying to get it through to Perry Groves. Donaghy gets it forward to Harford, the little touch by him for Hill, but Tony Adams is onto him quickly. Foster. And Sansom. To the Arsenal skipper. Davis. Rocastle. Caesar. Lift it forward there for Alan Smith. Groves. And Dibble will be grateful for the first touch. Had a very nervous opening, did Dibble, in that FA semi-final against Wimbledon, but brought off some great saves in the first half. After that, Sansom. Davis. Arsenal moving with a lot of comfort and composure at the moment. Danny Wilson. And appear at the moment to have settled just a little better. David Pleat?
Yes, I think the early moments are important to whoever gets the initiative, and I think Arsenal, particularly from Sansom and Winterburn's situation, will want to push on quickly and test the defensive instincts of for the likes of Ricky Hill and Kingsley Black.
There's a good shot by Smith, and well held by Andy Dibble, and bought from Cardiff City. Smith. Harford versus Adams. It hit Adams. Foul on Paul Davis there by Danny Wilson. Arsenal's free kick. Caesar. Just a little bit of question mark about Gus Caesar. I think probably because O'Leary's form over the years has been so good for Arsenal. A lot of people suggesting that Mick Harford might get some profit from Gus Caesar this afternoon. Rocastle. Good little ball played in there by Rocastle for Groves. Davis. Some space here for Sansom. Arsenal continuing to press in these opening minutes. Sansom again. Wilson. Breaker. Priest. Donaghy. Some good passing here by Luton Town. Very fluent indeed, and a long ball forward for Harford to chase, but there are 2 Arsenal players there. Winterburn gets it back to John Lukic. 5 minutes gone if you've just joined us. No score yet in this Littlewoods Cup final between Arsenal and Luton. Breaker's header. Brian Steen. Priest. Harford pulling back a little deeper. Steen. Priest again. Hill. Delightful stuff here by Luton. Some nice one-time, first-time passing. Hill. Wilson. But coming to nothing.
At the moment, there's a wind, certainly in Arsenal's favour, downwind. And it's important for Luton to get the ball on the deck and play early passing against this wind, and that's what they've just done splendidly.
So it's an Arsenal throw. Record in the Littlewoods Cup this season, Arsenal. They've scored 15 goals, conceded 1, and won all 7 outright of the games they've played. Winterburn with the throw, and Foster getting up. The whistle had gone for handball. Tony Adams again. Oh, poor one there, straight to Danny Wilson. Davis got him out of the spot. Richardson. Groves. That's a foul.
I don't think Foster will like to get drawn too much to the flanks this afternoon. He'd like to be in the centre where that old headband of his. He's had it the same one for 5 years, you know, Brian. It's a bit of a secret. There's a magnet in it.
Well, they might need it now because Richardson will hoist one high towards Smith and Adams up there. Is in there too, and Harford right back to help out. It's a good header there by the big forward. Danny Wilson finding Brian Steen, who's not really had a run at the ball, and now Kingsley Black coming into the game on this side of the field, finding Steen. Richardson after him, and the flag was up, whether for a free kick for the foul or whether it's a throw. For a while we were going to have 2 brothers here on the Luton side. Brian Steen here, the elder of the 2. He's 30. His 22-year-old brother Mark is one of the subs. Right, Tim Breaker then with the long free kick. Lukic, well, he was beaten in the air, and there was an infringement. No, it doesn't look as though there was an infringement. No, a goal kick. Harford, in fact, winning it cleanly in the air against Lukic, and had that looped into the goal, Luton would have been ahead. Foster versus Smith. Foster wins it in the air. Rocastle for Arsenal. Nodded on towards Perry Groves. Foster's there again and again. Steen, a nice little header there. And Luton suddenly have got 4 up, and Arsenal only have 3 back. Here's Ricky Hill. Played quickly for Danny Wilson. He's gone past Sanson. The cross comes into Brian Steen, looking to get something on the turn. Kingsley Black couldn't either, and Thomas gets it away, but then it hits Rocastle and falls for Harford. Priest trying to dink it in, and it comes for Rob Johnson. Adams, Davis. Smith finding Davis. Breaker going in rashly there, conceding the free kick. Let's see what Arsenal can come up with here. Newcastle thought for a moment was going to be behind it, but it looks as though it'll be the responsibility of Paul Davis.
A very similar position, Brian, to last year's goal against Liverpool.
Elbows going into that wall as well. Winterburn shot, beautifully saved by Dibble. Struck beautifully there by the fullback. He's only ever scored one goal for Arsenal. Mind you, that was an important one. The winner in the quarter-final of this competition against Sheffield Wednesday, but he hit that with tremendous power. And that'll do Andy Dibble's confidence a bit of good. Conceded another free kick there, that time Donaghy on Groves. Free kick to Arsenal.
There'll certainly be no one trying harder than Brian Steen. Brian, he's played in 2 losing 6 rounds, 2 losing semis, and so it would be great for him, and he's in his testimonial year this year.
Rocastle's cross. Breaker bringing it away. A healthy thump forward towards Harford, but met by the head of Tony Adams. It's a very sunny afternoon, difficult for all the defenders at that end of the field, as Tony Adams was demonstrating. Breaker with the throw. His form's been a bit wavery lately. I thought he had a pretty ordinary game in the semi-final against Wimbledon, but he's doing all that's required in this one. Oh, Johnny Wilson missing out there. Getting back, finding Donaghy.
Arsenal is still to settle into any real rhythm. They're trying to force the issue, but they haven't really got the passing going yet, and that'll concern George. 25 minutes gone.
Donaghy. This is Groves. Oh, it's an extraordinary ball. Played it straight to Black. Adams. Towards Harford. Harford won that in the air above Adams, but Hill couldn't profit from it, and it's an Arsenal throw. You're saying that Arsenal can't get a passing pattern going at the moment, neither can Luton, David, and it's falling a little bit below par just at the moment. Except with Luton, the underdogs, leading by a goal to 0, it remains an afternoon full of great possibilities. Donaghy. Steen. And a foul by Garcia. Actually, that didn't look too much of a foul to me.
No, I think it was Steen's subtle slide of foot there that deceived Caesar, rather than something that was premeditated.
It's a Luton free kick.
The one good thing about Joe Worrell, have a quiet word with the players, but he rarely gets his book out, and is an excellent referee.
Priest behind this one. Good left foot. Harford and Foster up there. And it's Big Foster that he's aimed for. But he was backing in on Adams. Foster beating Groves. Thomas. Now Kevin Richardson. And the corner given to Arsenal. The very first corner of the game. Paul Davis will take it for Arsenal. Again, Gus Caesar forward and Tony Adams. Harford's come back almost onto the goal line to mark Adams. Very much of a view for Andy Dibble. Davis curls this one in. There's the big goalkeeper. Formerly of Cardiff City.
Luton did very well at that corner. They left Kingsley Black and Mark Stein up, which forced another Arsenal defender to sit. And had Dibble realised it a little bit quicker, an early ball might have put Luton way into the Arsenal half.
Half it up there. Contrasting the way these sides have been able to prepare. Arsenal with that break in Spain haven't had a game for 9 days. Luton played in the Football League Centenary here last Saturday and had a 2-1 victory against Queen's Park Rangers on Tuesday night. Psychologically, that was probably very important for them because their form had been really dodgy up to that point. And here they are leading with half an hour gone by a goal to nil. Brian Stein the scorer. Danny Wilson. Winterburn. Groves is after it. Johnson gets it back. A walking miracle, Rob Johnson, as you well know, of course, David, as a former Luton manager with the most terrible knee injuries. They virtually had to rebuild one of his knees, is that right?
Yeah, but his character has overridden all his problems, and he's a tremendous little defender. That summed him up there. You know, he saw Merson's break, Groves' break, and he was very quick on the cover. Good attitude, first-class professional, solid as a rock.
Adams. Just under a quarter of an hour of the first half remaining, and Arsenal have had so much of the game territorially, but really have had so little to show for it. Have been almost permanently screwed to the left, watching the action, and not so much to the right. And here we go again as Adams. And Rocastle. Good break by Winterburn, and Foster's there in the nick of time, defending extremely well. A valuable interception there by the Luton Town captain after a good break and a tremendous run forward by Nigel Winterburn, but very nearly paid off for Arsenal. Goal kick.
Arsenal have obviously suggested that they must break as much as possible down that left side. Priest hasn't played much football recently. Johnson is playing left back, whereas he hasn't been a left back recently. Grimes has been playing there, and young Kingsley Black's come in. So Arsenal with Winterburn and Rocastle will try and stretch them down that side.
Dibble with the kick. Up goes Caesar. Richardson. Smith is after it. Foster there first. 500 League and Cup games, but not really very good Wembley memories. He was here with Brighton when they were beaten 4 by Manchester United. He was here with Luton just a few weeks back when they were beaten 4 by Reading, but his side are leading a goal to nil at the moment. Here's Caesar. But you get the impression that people like Foster and Donachie are going to be the real cornerstone of anything that happens for Luton this afternoon. Arsenal continue to press as this cross comes in, and Dibble was positive because Foster held back for a moment, and that could have been a very dangerous cross indeed. But Dibble's done everything that's been asked of him so far. In for the injured Les Seeley. Newcastle. Davis. There's space for Sanson. Flicked in there and goes behind for the goal kick from the head of Paul Davis. Very positive, getting through the challenge of Harford to get there for that one. Rob Johnson getting it away. Too high that time for Adams. Stein caught in the midriff by the boot of Caesar. And it'll be a free kick to Luton Town. Danny Wilson will take it. Such a responsibility on that number 7 when you consider that Priest and Hill in the midfield are desperately short of match fitness, at least you would imagine they were. But so much will depend upon Danny Wilson's lively character. Good player up through the lower divisions with clubs like Chesterfield. He had a spell with Nottingham Forest and then with Brighton. Steen. Offert. Okay. We're into time added on for stoppages at the end of the first half. You're summing up of the first half, David, please?
Well, I think Luton have done exceptionally well. They've taken the one chance that's come to them brilliantly. They look a threat when they do get balls into the box. I think that Foster and Donaghy have been the real pillar of strength for them. They've handled it capably. It's about partnerships. They've played together for a very long time now. They know each other's game, whereas Caesar and Adams slightly untried. Adams has had O'Leary as his guardian for some while now. And I think at the moment, as I say, Luton will be very much happier. Apart from the one goal, they will feel that Arsenal haven't contributed too much to breaking them down and making chances.
Well, the last seconds of the first half now. We just had the injury to David Priest and Joe Worrell just adding on the best part of a minute for that now. Luton's free kick. Now Donaghy will take it. Towards Brian Steen. There goes the half-time whistle, and certainly so far after 45 minutes, all the gambles that Ray Harford, the Luton manager, has had to take over the last few days are paying off. Brian Steen's goal after 13 minutes is what separates the two sides, but certainly Hill and Priest have done enough in midfield. Young Kingsley Black has shown one or two moments down the flank, and Dibble has done well for Ray Harford here as the Luton Town goalkeeper. So far, so good then for the underdogs, but you fancy there's a lot more football left in this Littlewoods Cup final year. But now we take a short break. Here we go then, at the start of the second half, Luton leading this Littlewoods Cup final by a goal to nil. Arsenal about to kick off. They'll now, of course, be attacking a goal to our right. Brian Steen, the scorer for Luton after 13 minutes. George Graham was saying in the week that the one thing that really bothered him was the inconsistent form that Arsenal have been showing lately. They've been good one day and poor the next. Reminding you that they've won only 2 of their last 9. And certainly it was one of their poorer days in the first half in terms of what they were able to achieve when really they'd had so much of the ball. This is Kingsley back. Certainly has shown no qualms about being put into a Wembley occasion at the age of 19. Wins a free kick. Poor though Arsenal have been, you get the impression that they have one of those Liverpool qualities about them that you never write them off. There are qualities about them, as indeed David Pleat is well aware as manager of Spurs last season when they were behind for so long in those semi-final matches in this Littlewoods Cup and eventually came out and won it. Priest, Davis, Rocastle, Thomas. Now he's a man who could make a difference if he'd make a few more forward runs. You agree with that Arsenal quality though, David?
Yeah, they've got great resilience. I think all big sides have. I mean, they're very strong physically. They'll keep going for 90 minutes in this game. They'll keep throwing balls into the box, and eventually they have to believe, they stay optimistic that they'll get a break.
Winterburn. Donaghy showing first. Flag up for an offside against Mick Harford. Adams. Wanting somebody from midfield to come a little closer, so he swings it wide towards Richardson on the far side. He's beaten away by Ricky Hill. Here's Brian Steen. Wilson. Hill on the far side. Tucked in nicely. Played it for Steen. Harford's waiting in the middle. He'll wait in vain because Michael Thomas is there for Arsenal. And again. Donaghy up, well above Rocastle. Hill once more. Richardson's forward, and Foster's back. Quickly. Needed to with Nick Harford around.
I think the pure physical presence of Harford has unsettled Adams and Caesar a little bit this afternoon.
Sampson. Foster away. Wilson. Couldn't get Steen away. Gets another go though. Breaker. Harford chasing this time. Caesar's the only one back. Harford going on, and Winterburn gets it back to Lukic.
The only significant change I can see at the moment in the Arsenal setup is that Richardson looks to be playing a little bit wider, Brian. But otherwise, so far, nothing else.
Caesar trying to get Smith away. Went through that challenge well enough. Found Priest. He's got Black outside him. He's got Ricky Hill, Brian Steen and Mick Harford forward. And here's Kingsley Black. Next to go on the outside. Whips his cross in! And Harford was in there. Enjoys doing that. Whipping on the outside. An excellent crossover ball. Combines well with Mick Harford. And Harford just wide of the mark under pressure from Sanson. David Pleat?
Yeah, Kingsley's not got explosive pace, but he's got this ability to manoeuvre an angle to get the cross in. And Harford thrives on those type of crosses.
Caesar under pressure from Harford, and Harford's got away from him. Brian Steen's waiting in the middle. Can Harford get to that one? Crossed in by him. Brilliant piece of goalkeeping by Lukic from the header from Brian Steen, and Luton within a whisker of being two ahead. Tremendous piece of goalkeeping there by Lukic. That 6-foot frame of his stretched to the very last inch. And Luton win their first corner of the game. Fabulous piece of goalkeeping.
Fantastic save and fantastic bit of attacking play, and I think that will lift the whole game.
All right, here we go with a corner for Luton. Up goes Harford again. And Ricky Hill into the side netting. And Arsenal just for that moment back on their heels. And Luton looking diligently for the comfort of and the cushion of a second goal. And here's Hayes getting his first touch. He's gone past Foster. Gets it to Smith. And now Rocastle. Richardson on the far side. Good cross in by him. Foster there again. Davis hitting it first time. And no, it doesn't go out of play. Smith with a header. Beautifully saved by Dibble. The flag was up, was it?
Yes, an offside decision has been given. And I'm sure Smith would be relieved at that, because in actual fact I think he picked the wrong option there, and I think across the goal once again was the better opportunity for Arsenal.
Harford back on the field again. Luton back to full strength, but he's given a goal kick. So maybe he overruled the linesman. But anyway, there was an excellent piece of goalkeeping going there. Good reactions there by Andy Dibble. And Luton still cling to this one-goal lead. Smith. Davis, offside this time against Hayes. Free kick to Luton. Crucial time this for Luton, really, with players like Priest and Hill who are short of match fitness. It's now that it really will begin to tell.
I think so, but they've held on and done so well that will give them an extra yard anyway. That will give them a lift. If they were behind, it would be even more difficult for Hill and for Priest.
this one. Turns it for Breaker. We hear from the other side that I think Nick Harford turned an ankle, but the physio, Dave Gallier, said, I think you can go on, and Nick is more than happy to do that.
I think Mark Steen could well be brought into the fray, Brian.
And away by Kingsley back. Well, there you are. Ricky Hill away. Sanson playing it in. Oh, I don't think Tony Adams realised that the ball was there, and it was clear for him for just a moment. Winterburn playing it wide. Good spell this for Arsenal. Richardson trying to get it crossed. The flag is up and the ball is out of play. And you're quite right, David. Mark Steen is coming on and Mick Harford is coming off. So although the physio may have felt that it was right for Mick Harford to go on, Mick obviously felt otherwise. And little Mark Steen comes on, 22 years old. He was really upset when he was left out of the side yesterday. There was newspaper talk this morning that he walked out on the camp and went back to his parents' home last night. Ray Harford, the manager, didn't want to talk about that, but he's back here as a sub, and now he's playing. And he's had quite a good record, 12 goals this season, and here he is now, looking to make another one, or score it himself, and the chance was certainly there. He's the smallest man on the field at 5'3", but he could have been a really big man for Luton in that moment. His first touch, this.
It was very clever, Mark, and he can do clever little things with the ball, but there's always been a slight doubt about his finishing.
Mark Steen with some support from Black. He's gone round him and gets a corner off Tony Adams. Foster's forward. Back with the corner for Luton, high towards Steen. This is Priest. Swept wide again, what a good ball, picking out Black. Trying to get round Richardson, there's his cross, it's a good one towards Steen again. Foster's in there too. And Arsenal belted away with Kenny Sanson. But Johnson now feeds Black again. There's that cross coming in once more. Lukic is there under pressure from Brian Steen, and a free kick to Arsenal. 1-1, 16 minutes of normal time left. Why put me on the spot? Why didn't you tell me?
I think young Priest in midfield, the left midfield player, I think he's done terrific. But I think
towards Smith. Good grief! Even again, no! Well, from about a yard out, Martin Hayes actually hit the post. After Dibble again had saved well, and Arsenal so close to going 3-1 into the lead. Good reaction save there, came off the post, and Martin Hayes hitting the post from a yard's range, and the ball eventually going behind for the corner. You're quite right, David Priest has gone off, and Ashley Grimes comes on.
that was a marvellous save by Dibble.
Adams, and a little flick on, another brilliant save by Dibble. Again from Martin Hayes, from no more than a yard's range. Tremendous reactions, and Arsenal absolutely rampant at the moment. 2-1 up, and looking now to make this Littlewoods Cup final absolutely safe.
For the first time in the game, Foster's so busy organising that he's losing his men in the box.
Well, Davis with the corner. Foster lost his man there as well. Smith trying to get it on the turn. Rocastle, just wide, goal kick. Ray Harford off the bench there, trying to get a few things organised.
And Paul Ray's giving instructions on the line then. He must feel terribly isolated, because I don't honestly feel that from 25 yards distance it's very difficult to get instructions through.
Theo Foley's trying. George Graham. Also, desperate moments for managers these, whether you're winning and hanging on, whether you're losing and looking to put it right.
I think at times, Brian, we try and influence ourselves sitting there, that we're doing our jobs. There's very little we can do. Theo's almost having a heart attack there at the moment.
2-1, 10 minutes left. Onside, Smith's on his way. This could make it safe for Arsenal. Saved by Dibble. Placed towards the corner by Winterburn. A spectacular leap and save by Andy Dibble in the corner for Arsenal. 8 minutes left. Brian Steen getting back there to get it away. Rocastle for Arsenal. Turning on the power now. Another cross coming in over the top, and it'll be a goal kick. What about it, David?
Well, dare I say, Brian, that I thought it was a harsh decision in the first place. Dibble got down awfully well. That was the clincher. Luton are still in the game, but of course Arsenal are rampant now because they feel so confident, but it's taken them a long time to get going, and then they've had the breaks at the vital time. But at least it's turned out into a very good second half.
Leicester. Winterburn. Johnson gets it back.
I think Hayes' pace has been influential in the last 15 minutes. He's been getting beyond the Luton back four easier than Groves did earlier. I think it's been a very good substitution by George Graham.
Ricky Hill. Well, it was certainly no great shakes as a cup final for the first 45 minutes, but it's more than made up for that now in this second half. So apart from enjoying a good afternoon's football now, some worthy charity is going to come up trumps at the end of the afternoon. Here's Breaker. And now Davis. Donaghy. Oh, just enough.
The ball hasn't run on fast today, Brian. It's looked like a holding pitch. There was that early back pass of Foster. There's been one or two other occasions, and that was one.
Here's Kingsley Black. To Brian Steen. To Ricky Hill. And now to Ashley Grimes. Get on after that one, he says. A beautifully weighted ball there for Black. And a lovely cross in. Adams got it away at the second attempt. Some good play by him. Black playing it in once more. This time there was an offside, I suspect, against Brian Steen. And the score remains at 2-2 as we come towards the last minute now of normal time.
It also must be quite warm down there. We've had a lovely day, blue skies. Although there's been a freshening wind, you don't get that down in the bowl.
Rocastle. Donaghy. Foul by Alan Smith on Donaghy. Breaker. And they're all over the pitch. There's a whole heap of them. As Ray Harford, their manager, comes to shake hands with his player coach and skipper, Steve Foster. And who would have believed it? No wonder he's got a hug for Andy Dibble, man who saved a penalty. And Arsenal will be kicking themselves because they played poorly for so long, and then suddenly when they got the breaks, they should have ripped it away from Luton's grasp. And Brian Steen, with those two goals, the last one in the very last minute, made sure that the cup goes to Bedfordshire. Well, a lot of neutrals will be delighted for this man. A good, honest, pleasant manager, and they'll commiserate with George Graham, but they say, well, George, you won it last year, and really you had your chances to win it this year as well. In the end, it came to nothing. Arsenal players just standing on the pitch, not knowing what to do with themselves. I mean, they must have been rehearsing their victory speeches 10 minutes ago. And when you think of the chances having gone 2-1 up, when Alan Smith was through, was foiled by the keeping of Andy Dibble, and then the penalty came, and Andy Dibble again came to Luton's rescue. Fantastic performance by the underdogs. And Mick Harford, they lost him, and they just turned the screw a bit tighter and played a bit better. And David Evans, the Luton chairman there. And now the turn of Luton Town to go forward. Led by Steve Foster. What a cracking game.
Trophy in their history. Captain Steve Foster had been an inspiration, but the big heroes were goalscorer Brian Steen at one end and goalkeeper Andy Dibble at the other.